All right, you guys, so this is what we're going to be doing today. I have laid out all of my eyeshadow palettes. So this includes drugstore, high-end, small palettes, large palettes. I'm doing it all at once. Once again, I just think it's easier. Just rip off the Band-Aid, get it done. So we are going to be looking at all of these palettes here today. I don't have you on my tripod yet. As you can see, it is set up right here, but where I film, it is a little cozy. So my bed is literally right here. And then I have a sliding glass window here, and I like setting up in front of that because I get good lighting, but it gives me very limited space. So I thought I would have you off the tripod so I could show you an overview of the whole thing, and then I'm going to set you guys up, and you'll only be able to see a little bit at a time. But real quick, before I do that, this little corner, this first corner here, that's where we're going to be starting. Those were the items that were either in my everyday makeup drawer, my project for 2019, or my new makeup. So that's kind of the stuff that wasn't put away. So we'll start there, and then we'll get into the rest of this, and I'll just give you guys a quick look. I can't remember, I'll try to put it on the screen here, how many palettes I have. I did an inventory, but you know, I've gained a few since then in PR, so maybe I should do an updated count here. This is obviously a lot of eyeshadow palettes, but for the fact that I do this for a living, I think it's not too out of control, but I definitely have quite a few things in here as I was setting it up that I'm like, you know, I could live without that palette. So we're going to be decluttering some of these today. No promises, I can't guarantee what I'm going to be able to get done, but let's go ahead and jump on in because it's going to be a long video. Alright, so we're going to start in this corner. Like I said, I am in my sweatpants. If you can see that, I changed into something comfortable because I knew I was going to be on the floor and this is going to be hard work, so I needed to be comfortable and ready for this. So let's start back here. This is the Moira Cosmetics Sweet Paradise palette. I do have this in my everyday makeup drawer right now. I got this in PR not too long ago, I want to say a few months ago. I think it's gorgeous. Like, look at it. Like, as soon as you open it, I was so excited to try this out. But I just feel really overwhelmed every time I open this palette. And there's really no good transition shades. This is a little too light to be a transition shade. And then these ones are just a little too warm to be transition shades unless you're going for a really warm look. And I don't know, every time I reach into this, I'm never satisfied with the way that the look comes out. So I have used it a few more times now. I told you guys I had put it away for a while after only using it one time because I was really scared of pulling it back out, but I have used it a handful of times now. I still have not used every shade in here though, but it doesn't work for me. I don't think it's bad, I don't know, I just find it difficult to create a look out of this. So I am going to go ahead and declutter that one. Alright, moving right along, I also have the Kat Von D Shade and Light Eye Shimmer palette, and this one I picked up at TJ Maxx actually not too long ago, and I still have not used this yet. I just had a lot of eyeshadow in my everyday makeup drawer, so I had pulled this in this last rotation and haven't had a chance to use it yet. So I will keep that. I do want to test it out a few times at least. Same thing with this. This is from Dose. This is their Freematic eyeshadow palette. I can't remember the name of the shades in here, but it's got these like purple shades. Let me zoom you guys in a bit. It's got these purple shades in here. It looks super pretty, just haven't had a chance to play with it quite yet, so that we're gonna be keeping. All right, this was actually in my new makeup drawer. I haven't pulled this into an everyday makeup drawer rotation quite yet, but I do have two other Pixie by Petra palettes, which we're going to see a little bit later, and one of them is very similar in color to this one. This one's all shimmer, and the other one that I have has a mixture of mattes and shimmers, but they're both that kind of same color family, like really like warm tones and stuff, and I just don't think I'm going to use this, so I'm going to pass this along to someone else. So that is going to be decluttered as well. All right, next, this is the Stila Eyes Are the Window Mind palette. I'm definitely not decluttering this. This is one of my favorite all matte eyeshadow palettes. It might be one of my favorite palettes in general. I just think it's so beautiful. I was just wearing this on my eyes the other day. I am so disappointed though that I just found out they discontinued this. I'm so sad. If you happen to come across it at like TJ Maxx or Marshall's, snatch it up. This is such a great quality palette. I'm so sad that they discontinued that. I hate when they do that, but this is, yeah, really beautiful, great quality. I love the colors in here. I can pair this with another palette or do an all matte look from it, and every time I'm happy with how it comes out, so definitely keeping that. All right, next up we have the Sigma Warm Neutrals Volume 2 palette. This also came to me in PR recently. I've only used this, I think, one time. I just haven't had enough time with it quite yet, maybe twice. I have used it maybe a couple times. I just haven't had enough time to try out all the shades yet. So far, I really like it. So far, I think it's a really nice palette. I do really like the colors in here, although I do feel like they're just slightly more fall colors, but still, I mean, still some really beautiful colors in here for spring as well. So definitely am going to be hanging on to that. Oh, okay, next I have the Huda Beauty Warm Brown Obsessions palette. This is actually in my 2019 Makeup Use Up project, so I'm definitely hanging on to this. I'm still working on trying to use up as much of this palette as possible this year. Obviously, not the whole thing. I have hit major pan on that shade right there, and I've got a good dip going here, so I'm happy with my progress, and I actually really love this palette. I think it's gorgeous. So yeah, definitely hanging on to that guy as well. All right, next up we have this Wet n Wild palette, and this one is the Rose in the Air palette. I think these palettes are so good. If you guys haven't tried these ones, I think they're really nice. They're not quite as good as the old formula that came like this, but still really, really nice, especially for drugstore and especially for the prices that these are. I think they're fantastic. I do really like the colors in here. Again, this does feel a little bit more fall tones to me. However, I still think they're beautiful and I still like using it, so I will be keeping that. All right, and then the last thing that was in my everyday makeup drawer is this Marc Jacobs palette. This one is called Provocateur. Oh, I love this palette. I've used it a handful of times since it's been in this rotation, but I just, oh, it's so beautiful. I love this shade right here. It's like the most beautiful kind of a grayish purpley color. It's so pretty. I can't describe it very well, but it has a beautiful shimmer to it. I love putting that all over the eyelid and almost looks a little smoky because it's a little dark, but I love this palette. So definitely hanging on to this. I think I only have, yeah, I only have 2 Marc Jacobs palettes left in my collection, and I love both of them, but of the 2, this is my favorite. Okay, let's move on to the bulk of my collection now. All right, I have a few more of these Wet n Wild palettes. Now this one here is called Not So Basic Peach. Let me open this up. I feel like this is like similar to the Too Faced Peach palette, like in colors and tones. I think that this is a really beautiful palette. Again, I really do like the formula of these, but of the ones that I have, these are the ones I reach for the least. It's just the colors that are in here. I don't gravitate towards as much, and I have a lot of palettes that have these shades, so I think I'll go ahead and declutter this one. However, this one here I love. This is this one is a much more cool toned version. It's the Nude Awakenings. This one, oh, I love this. One of my favorite cool tone palettes, actually. A lot of really good lid shades in here, but you have some great transition shades, and as well as some like deepening up shades over here. It's just a really good complete palette, so definitely hanging on to that. And although this is very old, I am not ready to get rid of my Comfort Zone palette. I did buy the Comfort Zone palette, the new version that looks like those other palettes, and ended up decluttering it because I like this one better. And I'm gonna keep it because, yeah, I think it's really, really nice. All right, next I have a couple of these Too Faced tin palettes. So the first one I have is Boudoir Eyes. Again, this is more of a cool tone palette. I don't have a lot of like mostly cool tone palettes, and I've been reaching for cooler tones a lot more recently. So this one I really love. I think the quality is fantastic. It's great for traveling as well because it's kind of compact, so I'm definitely keeping that guy. And the other one that I have in this format is the Natural Matte palette. Again, travel friendly and everything. This one is an all matte version, and I think this one is also fantastic. The quality of the shadows is great. The colors are colors I reach for consistently. And yeah, I could see myself pulling this in to do like maybe a project pan with. Although I've tried panning Too Faced products before and they're very difficult to pan, so maybe not, but I do really like this palette and I will be keeping that. All right, getting into some more smaller size palettes here. All of these I like using when I travel. This is the Tartelette Tease palette. I'm not a fan of Tarte eyeshadows, and I've talked about that so many times on my channel, but for some reason these little travel size ones, in my opinion, have a better quality, and I really do like the shades in this one. I did have another travel size Tarte palette, but I must have decluttered it last time because I am not seeing it here. That's strange. I thought I would have kept them both because I really do like these little ones, but anyway, I do want to keep this one. I really do like it, and yeah, we're keeping that. Alrighty, let's move over this way. So next we'll look at this guy here. This is very reflective, but this is from Milani. It's the Gilded Desires palette. This palette is so gorgeous. I cannot say enough good things about this. I did do a full review on this, I want to say in the fall of last year. It's just so stunning. The formula on these is amazing. These are very foiled. These metallic colors here are very foiled. Some of these are more shimmery. Then the mattes are really beautiful. I mean, just every color in here I've just had a fantastic experience with. I think they're all so good, and I absolutely love this, and I definitely am keeping it. All right, next up I have another mini palette. This one here is from Violet Voss. This is the La Macaroon palette. I really like this palette. It is all metallic and foiled kind of shades, so they are a little bit more intense looks that you get from them, but I think they're really pretty. Now, I pretty much use these just as lid shades, but look how beautiful they are. I think that the quality on these is really good. If you're looking for some good like foiled type lid shades, I would highly recommend this. So I will be keeping mine. All right, and then next up I have this palette from Alamar Cosmetics. This is called the Reina del palette, I think. Anyway, this is what it looks like on the inside. I think this is a really nice palette. I think the quality of this is really good. I did get this in a BoxyCharm. I just don't find myself ever wanting to reach for it. Even though it's really nice and the colors are good, they're not colors I would pair together. So I end up feeling like I need to pull something else out to use with this. And I don't know. I just don't see myself reaching for it often enough to make it worth keeping, so I am going to go ahead and let go of that one. All right, next up I have my Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. This palette I actually got originally when it first launched. It was one of the first launch palettes. They did like take it away for a while and then brought it back, and they didn't tell anyone they reformulated it, but I know they did because I actually got another one in gratis when I worked for Sephora, so they gave it to us in gratis. And the newer one that I got, I gave to my daughter, and it was completely different than this. The quality on this one is really nice. I really like it. They're easy to blend, really pigmented, beautiful shades, just a really good palette. But when you compared it to the newer version, the newer one is more patchy and not as pigmented. So I think that was very disappointing that they did that, especially because they didn't tell anyone they were reformulating it. But it's getting a little washed out from my bright light today. It's very sunny outside, but anyway, hopefully you guys can see this. I think this is a really beautiful palette. I'm happy that I got the first launch, and I will be keeping that. Okay, moving right along. This is gonna be a long video. So next I have this Laura Mercier palette. This is the Hidden Gem eyeshadow palette. This is what it looks like on the inside. It's pretty much all shimmers. There are a couple mattes in there. I think just the black and then this light nude shade right here are mattes. But this palette is so beautiful. I absolutely love it. Again, it's mostly lid shades, but I do find myself reaching for it a lot, and I really liked all the looks I got out of this palette, so I will be hanging on to this one. And then my other Laura Mercier palette I have is this one here, which is the Eye Art Artist palette. This is so good. If you guys have not tried this, this is probably my favorite cool tone palette that I own. It is just so fantastic. The quality of the eyeshadows is so good. The color combinations, like you can get so many different looks from this, and I just find it really easy to work with. So for that reason, I love it, and I will definitely be keeping that. All right, next up I have this Buxom customizable eyeshadow palette. I should probably put this with my other Z palettes, but anyway, this is what it looks like on the inside. I did create this palette myself. I do really like the quality of these Buxom eyeshadows, and I love the fact that they're so easy to change out. You just slide this little bar out here and you can change out the colors. So if you have more than one palette, you can kind of rearrange them and customize them. I think that's really cool. I did used to have like 2 more of these. I think I must have decluttered them because I'm not seeing them now. But I do really love all of these, and there's some unique shades in here that I just don't feel like I have in my collection anywhere else. So I do want to keep that. All right, next up, we're going to talk about these together. I have 4 more of the Huda Beauty Obsessions palettes. I talk about these a lot because I really enjoy them. I have 2 of the limited edition ones that came in like the colored packaging. This one here is the Emerald Obsessions. That's what it looks like inside. Some really pretty greens. And then this one here is the Amethyst Obsessions. and get it open, and those are some really gorgeous purple shades. So I really think that the formula on these are fantastic. I love the size for traveling, and I just find them to be some of my most reached for palettes. So I definitely do want to keep all 4 of these. So those are the 2 limited ones, and then I have Mauve Obsessions, which might be my favorite of all of them. That's what it looks like inside. And the last one I have is Coral Obsessions, which is so beautiful as well. Definitely need to pull this out for spring. I just get total spring vibes every time I open this up, so definitely need to get into that soon. All right, next up I have another Too Faced palette. This is from the, what was the collection? The Tutti Frutti collection, I think. It's the Razzle Dazzle Berry Eyeshadow Palette. The packaging is super cute. I like the berries on the front. And I don't know how well it's going to focus because it's very reflective, but it's got a lot of purple and pink tones in here. I really do think it's nice. It smells very fruity. Like, it has a very strong scent when you open it up. I think it's pretty nice. There's a couple shades in here that I don't really reach for, but for the most part, I think it's really beautiful. This color here is just absolutely stunning. So yeah, I definitely want to hang on to this. I still feel like I will continue to use this a little bit more before I'm ready to get rid of it. Okay, another very reflective. These reflective ones are very hard to show you guys. This is from Milani again. This is their Everyday Eyes in Earthy Elements. They have a few different versions, I think, of these little palettes. Hopefully you can see it. These are very warm tones, but this is such a like classic go-to palette for me. I think that the shades all complement each other very well, and you can get a lot of like really basic everyday looks from this palette. So this is another one that I definitely want to hang on to. All right, a bunch more little palettes to go through. This one here is from Lancome. This is their color design palette in Taupe Craze. I did have a few of these, but this is the only one I hung on to. Again, it's just because I feel like some of these colors are a little bit more unique. Specifically, these 2 more metallic shades I feel like are pretty unique and very gorgeous. So I do want to hang on to this palette. I still do reach for it here and there. And then I have this one from Blink. This actually came in a BoxyCharm. It's called the Electric Eyes palette. This is fantastic quality. Like, I was really shocked when I first tried this out. I don't reach for it often, but I want to. I feel like if I, after I get rid of hopefully a few things today, I will be more likely to reach for this. It does kind of get buried in my large collection, but I think that the formula is so nice. I definitely want to keep this and try to use it a few more times. All right, next I have 2 of the little mini Kat Von D Shade and Light Eye palettes. This one is the shade Rust, which looks like that. And then I have this one, which is Plum, and it looks like that. I think the quality of these are really nice. I feel like I will use Plum more often, so I will keep Plum, but Rust, I just don't see myself reaching for this that much because I have all these colors in other palettes. There's nothing really unique or special in here. And if I wanted just a very basic everyday neutral palette, I think I'd reach for some of those other ones I just showed you, like the Milani one, or one of those Wet n Wild palettes, or one of my Obsessions palettes from Huda. So I think I can go ahead and let go of that guy. Next, another mini palette. This one is from Smashbox, and this is called the Cover Shots palette in Ablaze. Again, I had quite a few of these little guys as well, and this is the only one I kept because I really like the colors in here. And I actually thought the formula of this particular one, this Ablaze palette, was slightly better than the other 2 that I had tried. So I do really enjoy this one, and I do want to hang on to that. All right, next up, another reflective palette. This is the Clarins 4-color eyeshadow palette. And look how pretty this is. I really, really love this palette as well. Hopefully you guys can kind of see that. It's really beautiful, and they are all shimmers, but the quality on these are really fantastic. And I do really like reaching for this one, so I will be keeping that as well. Okay, next up I have 3 of these little Viseart palettes. This one here is one of the Theory palettes. This is in the shade Minx, and that's what it looks like. The quality on these Visearts is just incredible. Like, I really want some of the really big, what do they call those? The Grande palettes, I think. The Pro Grande palette. Anyway, I really want those. Can't afford them, but these are fantastic, and I definitely am not going to be getting rid of any of these. I just think that the quality is amazing. If I could afford to, I would invest in more Viseart for sure. So that's the Minx palette, and then I have the Petite Pro. This is the Petite Pro 2. I got rid of the case on this for some reason, but that's what that looks like inside. Again, stunning, stunning palette. I love the colors in there. I also really love the formula. And then I have the original Petite Pro as well, and that's what that looks like. And again, just love it. Definitely keeping it. Okay, now we're sliding over, getting to some of the bigger palettes here now. So next I have this palette from Crown Pro. This did come to me in a BoxyCharm. This is what it looks like on the inside. I think the colors in here look beautiful. Again, it's, oh gosh, this gold packaging is so hard to show on camera. Again, yeah, the colors in here are so pretty. I really do like them. I just don't find myself reaching for it because I have all of these in other palettes. There's nothing really super special or unique in here. And I thought the formula was good, but maybe not as good as some of my other ones. So for that reason, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and declutter this. Next up, I have this ColourPop Princess palette. This came with the Disney Princess collection. I was really disappointed in this palette, to be honest. I thought that the colors didn't feel, I don't know, it just didn't feel very cohesive with their theme here. And again, I think that the ColourPop eyeshadows are pretty decent for their price point, but not as good as a lot of the other things that I own. And now I'm looking at it and realizing I didn't even try every shade in here. I'm thinking maybe I should put this in a maybe pile and give it one more chance. I'm going to set this aside in a maybe pile for now and see how good I do at the rest of my declutter. This is the, next up I have the Suva Beauty Protege palette. This came to me in a BoxyCharm. And while I think the formula is really nice, I feel like it's a very large palette for how much product is actually in here. And I do find myself not wanting to reach for it too often. So I think I am going to go ahead and just declutter that one. Next up, I have my Kat Von D Shade and Light Eye palette. This is the all matte version. I do really like this particular eyeshadow palette, so I do want to hang on to that one. And then I have my Urban Decay Born to Run palette, and let me open that up. That's what it looks like on the inside. I honestly haven't used this as much as I should, so I really do want to pull it in again and get more usage out of it. I don't even think I used every shade. I bought it, I had a lot of new palettes at that point, and I tried it a few times and I think it got put away, so hasn't really been used since then. So I definitely need to pull this in soon, but I will be hanging on to that. Next up, this is one of my all-time favorite palettes, so I'm definitely not going anywhere. It's really dirty and beat up as well, but this is my original Lorac Pro palette. As you can see, I have hit pan on quite a few shades in here, and I'm close to hitting pan on quite a few more. This is a beautiful palette. I really love it, and I'm definitely hanging on to it. Once I use up some of the shades in here, I probably would just repurchase and get a new one because it is starting to get a little bit beat up. But I haven't fully used up any shades in here yet. I'm close to using these two up. But yeah, it's just a fantastic palette. If you haven't tried this one, definitely recommend it. It's going to be on sale actually during the Ulta Beauty sale, so I'll try to link that below for you. Alright, next I just have 3 of the Anastasia palettes. I did declutter a couple, and the more recent ones I haven't been buying. I've been trying to be good about not buying every single new release. So I do have the Modern Renaissance, which I absolutely love. I think it is so beautiful. The formula is great. The colors are gorgeous. So that I'm definitely keeping. And then I have my Soft Glam palette, which I honestly haven't used as much as I should. And this is another one where it's like I got it, I had so many new palettes, kind of got put away and forgotten, so I do need to pull it out again, but I do really love it, so I will be keeping that. And then the last one that I currently have in my collection is the Norvina palette. This one is so beautiful. I actually splurged and bought this when we were in Disneyland on our last trip, and I just love it, and I'm definitely hanging on to that as well. And then next up I have the Bad Habit Royals palette. I had a bunch of Bad Habit palettes, and I honestly, looking at this, I don't think I've ever tried this. I have not tried this. So this I'm going to put in my maybe pile too. I need to pull this into my next Shop My Stash, or you know what, I'll pull it in now since I got rid of some of the ones that were in my everyday makeup drawer. I need to pull this in and try it out and see if I like it. I've heard so many good things about Bad Habit, and I got a huge PR package from them, but it was so much I couldn't try it all. And I tried a few and liked a few and didn't like a few, got rid of a bunch of them because it was too much. But this one I would like to try, so I will keep that for now. Alrighty, next I have a couple of Nabla palettes. This is the Soul Blooming palette. I love the formula on these. I think they're so good, and there's some really unique colors in here, so I will be keeping that one. And then the other one that I have from them is their Dreamy palette, which I probably like this one over the Soul Blooming, but I think they're both really great. There's some really good cool tone colors in here, and I do reach for this one quite a bit. Wow, I feel like I should be done and I still have a lot more to do here. So next I have the Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes palette. This my mom gave to me and I really do like this. I need to pull it in more. I haven't been using it as much as I should. I feel like I'm saying that a lot, but there's just so much here. It's hard to use all of it when you have this much. So I'm glad I'm getting rid of some things, but this one I'm not ready to let go of, so I will be keeping that. I also cannot get rid of the next couple ones. This one is from Kevyn Aucoin. It's the Nude Pop. This is so gorgeous. I just got this recently in PR, but I had it in my everyday makeup drawer and I was using it literally every day, and everything else that was in there was getting kind of pushed to the side because I love this so much. So definitely keeping that. I really love it. I think it's fantastic. And then I'm keeping this Nars palette as well. Now this was limited edition. It's the Narcissist Loaded palette. I don't think you can get it, but I'll try to link it if I can find it. This is such amazing quality and I really love using it, so I will be keeping that. Next up I have this Ace Beauté Grandiose palette. This is just a little supplementary palette, looks like that. Now I think the quality on this is actually really, really good, and I do have another Ace Beauté palette which I'm going to show you guys in a second. But I have all of these shades in other palettes, so I'm going to actually let go of this one because it's just, I have too much and I don't think I'm going to be able to use it as much as I should be, and I think it'll find a better home somewhere else. So I'm going to let go of that one. Alright, next I have these two Pixie palettes. These are the ones I was telling you about. So this one I just got in PR along with the one that I decluttered, but this one is more cool tones, which I have a few cool tone palettes, but I don't have a lot, and I do really love this one, so I'm going to be keeping that. And the other one is this one. It's Judy Time palette. Actually, Samantha March sent this to me, which was so sweet. But this is that more warm tone colors I was talking about, but it has a mixture of mattes and shimmers. So I really do like this one and I will be keeping that. All right, next up, here's the other Ace Beauté palette I was talking about. This is the Quintessentials palette. This is gorgeous. I love this palette. I love the formula. I love the colors. There's so many great things in this palette. I actually did do a full review on this, but yeah, I can't let go of this. I just think it's so good. All right, next up, this is the Boss is Beauty Boss Bitch palette. This is what it looks like on the inside. I did do a full review on this as well. I got this one in PR. I think this is so gorgeous. The palette is really beautiful. I really love the different colors in here. I've got some more unique colors, some standard colors, kind of everything that you need to create a look. And I kind of raved about it when I got it because I think it's just really, really good. So it's a very unique color combination, but I really do like the colors that are in here. So I want to keep that. All right, next up I want to talk about this. This is again from Urban Decay. This is the Distortion eyeshadow palette. I honestly bought this because it was on sale. I know that's so bad. I do have a problem with doing that sometimes, but I think I had seen someone do a review and it sounded really nice, but I just don't reach for it like ever. So I am going to go ahead and declutter this one. Next up I have the other Bad Habit palette that I kept. This is the Athena palette. This one I have used and I actually did really like this one. So this one I do want to hang on to. And then I have the Makeup Revolution Emily palette. This is the Needs palette. I also have the Wants. I liked the Needs palette, this one here, I liked better than the Wants palette. I still think the quality is just okay though. And so for that reason, I just don't feel myself reaching for it. Let me grab the other one. Here's the Wants palette. We'll just talk about them together. This one is a much larger palette with a lot more colors in it. And I felt like these colors were hit and miss. Some of them performed pretty good. Some of them were pretty crappy. And there were a handful that were really amazing. But overall, I just don't find myself wanting to reach for either of these because I just don't get a consistent look out of them. So I'm going to go ahead and declutter both. All right, now we are finally getting close. Okay, next up I have a couple MAC palettes. This one here is called the Warm Neutral palette. I love this. This made it into a top 5 palette for like 3 years in a row, I think. I really love it. It's just such a great neutral palette and the formula is amazing. I mean, it's MAC. It's really good stuff. Keeping that. I have a mini palette from them as well. This is called their Semi-Sweet ×9. And that's what that looks like. It is all matte and again, really great quality. I love using this when I travel, so keeping that. All right, and then next I have this here from Kat Von D. This is the 10-year anniversary palette. I really thought I would love this palette and I thought I would use it all the time, but as I open it, you can probably see, barely used this. And I just don't really want to. I don't know why. It's really pretty. I'm looking at it and I think it's really pretty, but I just never ever pull it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and declutter that. All right, here's my other Marc Jacobs palette. This one I really enjoy as well. It's the Dreamer palette. Again, I decluttered a lot of these that I had previously. Last year's declutter was huge, but this one made it through along with the Provocateur, and I really do want to keep it still because I really enjoy it. All right, next up, let's just talk about these all together. I have 4 of the Lorac Pro Makeup Pro palettes. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's the order right there. I love every single one of these. The Lorac Pro formula, it happens to be my favorite. And I love that you get so many shades in one little palette with these. Not little, it's pretty big, but I do love that you have such a great color combination in each one and so many colors to pick from. This one is my favorite, the Lorac Pro 2, Makeup Pro 2. If you can find it, pick it up because every once in a while I'll see them come back with it. This is probably the most versatile one, which is the number 3. But they're all really good, you guys. Like, I really love them all. And I find myself reaching for them often. I always want to pull these out. So keeping all 4 of those. Okay, we're just about done finally. Next I have the Pure Love Your Selfie palette. I was pleasantly surprised with this palette. I thought that the quality was pretty good. I thought I would hate it, and I actually didn't. I thought it was pretty good, but it is pretty boring other than these 2 like foiled shades at the bottom, which in my opinion are not, they're not my favorite. They're basically like a loose glitter like packed in there. So I just don't feel inspired by this, so I am gonna go ahead and just let go of that one. It takes up a lot of space as well. Next I have my Violet Voss Pro palette. This is the Holy Grail palette. I love this, it's gorgeous. The colors are so beautiful, definitely hanging on to that. All right, I have just one Juvia's Place palette left in my collection right now. This one is the Masquerade. Yes, the Masquerade Mini palette. That's what it looks like. I think the formula on this is fantastic. I don't have a lot of colorful shadows in my collection, but I think the formula on this is really good. So when I want to wear a color, this is one I will definitely reach for. There's a lot of neutrals as well though, so it's a very versatile little palette, and I do want to keep that. All right, next, this is from Il Makiage. This is called their Color Boss Pro palette. I got a whole bunch of products from them in PR, and most of them I wasn't that impressed with, especially for the price point. But I have to say, even though this is a very expensive palette, I really love it. It is really, really beautiful. I love the way, it doesn't look like much, but I love the way all of these colors work together. And the formula, I mean, these are just like butter. They are so creamy and foiled and just stunning. And every look I ever created with this palette, these are the swatches right here. Every look I ever created, I was super happy with. So definitely want to keep this. I think it's just really stunning. All right, we're getting close. Next I have my Kat Von D Metal Matte palette. This is a Kat Von D palette that I actually do want to keep. I just think it's such a beautiful color story. You have so many different colors, both matte and metallic in here, and I do really love them. When I'm ready to get rid of this, I will probably give it to my mom because she has it too, and she's like already panned a few shades in here and wanted like a new one. So, but for now, I'm gonna keep keeping that. Alrighty, and then we have this guy. This is the Kat Von D Mi Vida Loca palette. Again, this is just one of those palettes that you can't really get rid of. Part of it is the artwork. I really love the artwork, but I love the colors that are in this palette as well, and I just think it's so beautiful. I can't really let go of it. All right, and then finally we get to all of my Z palettes. I have quite a few customizable Z palettes I'm going to talk about real quick. I don't think I'm going to get rid of any of these in today's video, but I am thinking I might do another single like eyeshadow declutter and maybe reorganize some of these palettes. So if you want to see that, leave me comments below and let me know. But I'll show you what I have. This is my smaller Z palette, which I have all my MAC shadows in. This drives me nuts because they do kind of move around in there sometimes, so I don't like that. But I do really like this palette, or I do like the size of this palette, and I really do like my MAC shadows, so I don't think I would be able to get rid of any of those. And then this Z palette here, this is one of the larger Z palettes. This mostly has Makeup Forever. That's these pans up here, Makeup Forever. These ones here are from Love Luxe Beauty, and then I have some miscellaneous that I honestly couldn't tell you. I can't remember. I depotted some things and I don't remember what they were, but that's what this one is. All right, and then I have this glitter palette. This actually came to me from Chrisanna Ann Cosmetics. And most of these shadows are from Chrisanna Ann, but there are some also from Look See, I believe, in here. It's a mixture of things happening. Alrighty, and then I have this palette here, a Sephora Z palette. These bottom shades are all Anastasia Beverly Hills single shadows, and the top ones are more from Look See. And then my final Z palette, these are all of my Makeup Geek shadows. I think there's a couple in here that are Coastal Scents, but for the most part, these are Makeup Geek. I really do like the Makeup Geek formula as well. I think this is, between these and the MAC singles are probably my favorite for these individual ones. But yeah, I really like all of those. So I will be keeping these for now, but let me know if you guys want to see me go in through each like shade and declutter. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this declutter. Let's see what I was able to accomplish. All right, you guys, so it looks like these 13 eyeshadow palettes are moving their way out of my collection. And then I have these 2 that I'm going to be testing and then deciding whether I'm keeping or getting rid of. So that is what I was able to get rid of this time. Not as good as what I was hoping for, to be honest. I was hoping that I could do a little bit better, but as you guys know, my last year declutter, I really kind of narrowed it down. So I feel like I'm down to the point where I have mostly things that I really love, and that makes it much harder to get rid of things. But I'm happy that these 13 are moving their way out, and we will definitely be testing these, and I'll give you guys an update later on as to whether or not they make it. But I hope you enjoyed watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.